Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You're listening to Let's Talk with me, your host, Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Awaz 103.1 FM studios here in the heart of Nelson. Wherever you're listening to me, I hope you're all fine. I hope you're all well. We've had a crazy week of storms from Dudley to Eunice to Franklin. It's just been crazy. Loads and loads of people are getting stuck in all sorts of weather. I hope you're all fine and well and safe. If you're listening to me in Great Harwood, Accrington, Briarfield, Nelson, my hometown of Blackburn, further afield, I know some of my friends are listening to me in Liverpool, Stoke, Bradford, Manchester. So wherever you guys are, wishing you a very, very lovely evening. This is Let's Talk with Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Awaz 103.1 FM studios here in the heart of Nelson. For those of you who want to contact me throughout tonight's program, you can give me a call on 01282 723 455. You can WhatsApp me on 07522 723 455, or you can send me a message on Facebook, which will be picked up, inshallah, and I'll put it to any of my guests. So you know, this is your current affairs program each and every single week, bringing you an inspirational person, an organization championing their excellent work, or discussing a topic affecting you, the British Asian, the British Muslim community. And each and every single week, you know, I try and bring you a variety of topics, something that is of benefit to you as much as I enjoy discussing it too, and or bringing you some inspirational person that you've not met or heard about. And we really do need to showcase these people so that they get as much exposure and recognition that they deserve for the excellent work that they do. So tonight's program is one of these themes, and we are going to be having a whole host of guests joining us this evening. And tonight's program is going to be focusing on the British Muslim Awards, which are happening, the 9th British Muslim Awards, which are happening this coming Thursday, the 24th of February, 2022, here in Manchester. This is an award ceremony that, like as I've just mentioned, has been around now for 9 years, recognizing people, businesses, initiatives across the country who are, you know, British Muslims who deserve that recognition. In total, there are 33 categories, so quite a busy awards night. And out of, you know, hundreds, thousands of nominations, people are narrowed down and put into the categories. And here in, you know, this area, East Lancashire, Blackburn, we do have quite a lot of nominations this time. And so I thought, well, why not have a program dedicated to celebrating some of these nominees? Because the fact that they are a finalist is an achievement in itself. I think you don't have to win the award to be a winner. The fact that they have come to the point of where they are finalists, they're receiving that recognition for the excellent work that they've done in the community or via their organization, then why not have that celebration? So tonight we are going to be joined by a whole host of guests who have been recognized in different categories, and so it's going to be a busy one, but I want you to stay with me. I want you to celebrate with me. If you want to even send a message to any of the nominees, then you know, do definitely drop me a message, send me a WhatsApp on 07522 723 455. You can call me on 01282 723 455, or those of you who are on Facebook, you can drop a message there. Assalamu alaikum to brother Hafiz Iqbal Sialvi, who is listening to me online on Facebook, who is a regular listener and listening all the way in Pakistan. So very much appreciating the support that you're listening all the way in Pakistan. And, you know, this is what it's all about, that we're here to celebrate today some of these nominees. This is the British Muslim Awards, which are happening later on this week. And in total, we're going to be having 4 nominees on from a variety of categories. Those of you who follow me on social media, you will have seen the guests that we're going to be having on. But we're going to run through them in a moment. And very shortly, I will be joined by the first person who will be joining me, who is Zen Yogi. Zen is somebody who actually came on my show a few months ago when she achieved the Guinness World Record of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and then completing an obstacle course there, which was a wonderful achievement in itself. And she came on to show us, discuss the excellent work that she'd done there. And she's gone on to do a lot of excellent work within the community. So she's in the category of Volunteer of the Year. And I think a really lovely person who I've started to get to know very recently. And so I'm really proud that she's going to be on the show. So she's going to be joining me just after 5:20. And then we have at 5:40 p.m. Salim Sidat, Councillor, Chairman of Masjid Sajideen in Blackburn. And again, Masjid Sajideen has been nominated as Mosque of the Year. So we're going to be joined by Salim Sidat at 5:40, a really lovely person I know as well. 6 p.m. then we're going to be joined by Feroza Mohammed, who from Humraz, who have been nominated as Charity of the Year. And then at 6:20, we're going to be joined by Khalid Master, who's a dentist, a dental partner from Blackburn again, who's also been nominated for Business Initiative of the Year. So there's a whole variety of nominees coming on who are going to be joining us very shortly. And so I'm really looking forward to having a chat with them, seeing the preparation they're making, how excited they are. This is quite a night that they want to enjoy. The caliber of people that attend, etc. It should be a wonderful evening. I myself will be in attendance at the award ceremony and be looking forward to meeting some of these guys in person. So yeah, it's a program tonight celebrating our nominees of the British Muslim Awards. And I want you guys to stay with me. Anybody that wants to wish these guys all the best, etc., send me a WhatsApp on 07522 723 455. You can call me on 01282 723 455, and you can also send me a message on Facebook. And, I want to inspire some of you out there to hear some of these stories, the work that these people are doing within the community, the excellent work that they're doing, and the reason why they're being recognized. I know that most of these people, the work that they do will not be for this kind of recognition, but it's wonderful that there are such awards that are recognizing them, their hard work. And it then inspires others to do the same level of hard work too. So tonight's show is fully dedicated to the British Muslim Awards. So I'm hoping that all of my regular listeners keep it locked with me and enjoy the rest of the show, hearing from some of our very, very inspirational guests joining me very, very shortly. So you're listening to Let's Talk with me, host Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Awaz 103.1 FM studios here in the heart of Nelson. And as I mentioned, tonight's show is dedicated to celebrating a bunch of our British Muslim Award nominees who will be hopefully attending the ceremony this coming Thursday. And as scheduled, my first guest is on the line with me now, Zen Yogi. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you, Zainab?
I'm okay, thank you.
I was telling the listeners that Zainab is a friend of the show, and I'm reminding them of when you did your Guinness World Record not so long ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you recovered?
Sort of. I'm still injured, so still sort of recovering, but still thinking of my next expedition. So yeah, let's see.
Mashallah, mashallah. Well, first of all, I think huge congratulations are in order for the nomination that you have for the British Muslim Awards. And I think I'll leave it to you to let the listeners know in which category you have been nominated.
Yes. So we've been nominated to the Community Initiative Award for ZS Defence Academy. We were contacted via Facebook. Quite a bit of a shock. And initially I thought it was a scam. And I was like, can this be real? So I actually gave her a call, Miriam, the organizer, and she confirmed, yes, that it was true and everything was correct. So, yes, the Community Initiative of the Year is the award that we've achieved.
Wow. And I was looking into the actual process, and somebody's actually taken the time out to write a nomination. You know, it's not just simply just saying, I vote for this person. They've actually gone to that effort. So how does that feel that somebody sat down, recognized the work that you're doing in the community and thought, you know what, we're going to put her forward for this award?
It feels really good because we are quite new as an organisation, and to be recognised for the wonderful work that we are doing in the community, we feel privileged to be in this position, and especially this award. It really sounds massive, so a little bit scary and nervous-wracking at the same time. But you know, it's great because you know the work that we're doing needs to be recognised even more, not just locally in the Blackburn and Darwin, but around the Northwest.
No, I think it's definitely an achievement, and I know I've been following some of the things that you do since I had you on the show, and I just think it's a real deserved nomination. And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the program, that you know, it's not about the winning. The fact that you know, being a nominee, being a finalist from, you know, hundreds of thousands of people across the country, and this is, you know, the British Muslim Awards, it's from all over. It's not just Northwest, or you know, even though the ceremony this year is based in Manchester, it's still from across the country, and for you to be picked out from you know, all them people must be really, really an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I think it's just being recognised, because there's a lot of people, including ourselves, that do some fantastic work in the community, but you know, we just sort of tick along with it, you know, day in, day out, and being recognised for the Community Initiative of the Year as well, I think just definitely fits the boxes for everything that we're doing.
And especially during COVID, you know, you said you're a fairly young organisation. I mean, how has COVID impacted on the work that you have done within the community?
Well, COVID had really stopped everything because we did a lot of face-to-face activity. So unfortunately, it hit us really hard to rock bottom. That as you know, with the trustees and a few of us friends, we discussed that you know, we shouldn't continue. That's how much it hit us, because we were only set up in 2018. But it was really the near neighbours, you know, speaking to them and sort of getting the funding to do some online. I think, you know, keeping that going, and then the interaction through WhatsApp and through our sort of different media channels. I think that, you know, people were very, very supportive in that time, and we utilised that time to really do the backbone of you know, the organisation. So we sort of started off on a rough patch, but then we decided to still persevere, and I'm glad we have. You know, because it's a very niche, where we're a females-only organisation offering martial arts, you know, by qualified female instructors. So I think that in itself just showcases the wonderful work that we're doing in the community.
And do you think, you know, the whole violence against women and girls being quite a priority, quite a huge agenda across the country, nationally, in policing, etc., do you think this has really highlighted your organisation then in empowering these young women and girls in you know, learning a self-defense?
Oh, definitely. I think after the Sarah Everard case, I think the self-defense generally in women has, you know, the demand has increased. and people are starting to understand more about, the fitness world and how important it is to look after your health and your body and the effects that it can have. I think lockdown has made people realise as well, by being stuck indoors and, to come out, and especially with domestic abuse cases. So it's definitely recognised, even more. But I think the work has just begun.
Definitely. And so is that the kind of community initiative, the specific focus on empowering females? You think that's one of the main reasons why that you've been nominated?
Yeah, definitely, because we started off as a female only, and we're still continuing to empower more women. So I think that's maybe one of the reasons why. But also the work that we've done, not just locally in Blackburn with Darwin, but around the Northwest. So we're travelling a little bit more now, in different sort of localities. And I think that in itself just shows that we're broadcasting. We're not just about, staying in one place. We're going where the demand is, where the need is, and where the females are wanting this support. And I think that in itself just showcases that, we are travelling. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons as well, because we're collaborating more with other organisations. One thing that we've learned, especially during lockdown, it's not just about yourself, or you need to collaborate with other people for it to be a success and to gain sort of that recognition as well.
And do you have any idea on who nominated you?
No. Because we've had there was a few different awards that we've also applied for the UK Parliament Award quite recently as well. So there was quite a few different awards sort of that we share with our sort of members and sort of ask people just to recognise us. So I have no idea, but whoever that human is, I'd like to really say thank you, because it's given us an opportunity to showcase and be nominated at such a big platform.
Well, this is what I was saying, that these people that are going to be joining me this evening, this is what I said, that they don't do this for the recognition. I know these people,
Nope.
These areas that they are doing their volunteering in, they're passionate about that area, and that's the only reason why they do it. But then it's nice when somebody does stop and recognise the efforts that they've gone to. And, it's just nice sometimes to see that. And I think sometimes you forget on all the things that you've done. And when you have to sit back and reflect, when you have a nomination like this, it's quite nice, isn't it? And humbling to see all the excellent work that's been going on.
To be honest, yeah, because as part of obviously the criteria, you have to send sort of evidence of the work that we've done, and then sitting down with a few friends and going through all the previous work that we've done and sort of, the talent and the articles and sort of drafting that on an email was so emotional. And it just sort of makes you realise that sometimes, I think because we're always thinking about the present and the future, we forget about our past achievements and how far you've got. So that really sort of enlightened us all, and I was nearly in tears just, reading the sort of the hard work that we put into this.
And have you actually looked at the list of the other nominees in your category then? Have you checked them out?
Not really, no. It's one of this is one of the first awards that we receive on such a massive platform. So I'm sort of, we as an organisation sort of going the floor with it. So I sort of read them, but not actually looked into it, because I thought we'll just meet them on the day and let's see what happens.
Well, one of your new students, Seher, has just messaged me. She's listening live at home with her mum, and is congratulating. I can't speak now. Z, I've lost. She's congratulating you on your nomination, and is wishing you all the best for Thursday.
Oh, thank you.
I know she's really enjoying the classes since she's joined them. So she has mentioned that she's really enjoying them, and so I think it's really good that you're giving these young girls, something to focus on and feeling, a lot more empowered when they're out there on their own.
Absolutely.
I think it's excellent the work that you're doing. So, have you prepared then for Thursday for the actual event evening itself? Have you got your outfit ready to go now?
Yeah, so I had my outfit ready, booked my makeup yesterday as well, and she just texted me this morning that unfortunately she's had a double booking, so now I'm like stressing out. But yeah, it should be fine. I think I'll hopefully today we'll get another makeup artist on board. And yes, I am excited, got my heels ready and ready to rock and roll.
You're braver than me. I've decided to go with flats. I was going through the wardrobe today and I was like, I am definitely not wearing heels.
No.
I just thought the last thing you need is a trip here or there. That's it in all them people. So I was just okay, I'm going to avoid heels.
Yeah.
Take the safe bet and stick with the flats. But no, I think it's going to be a really fun night. And do come over and say hi, while you're there. I'd love to see you on the evening. And really want to wish you like the best for Thursday, and really praying and hoping that you do win. It'll be really nice to bring some awards, I think, home to Blackburn.
Definitely. And very good luck to you as well. I'll definitely be cheering for you, so you'll hear me shouting your name.
Yeah, it's similar to you, as you said, when you fill in, when you send that email with all the things that we've done, that was quite a reflection and humbling process for me as well, to look at all the stuff, because in COVID sometimes you think we've literally lost 2 years, because you feel like you didn't do anything, and then actually putting pen and paper, like actually sitting down writing it and thinking, no, actually, even regardless of COVID, so much has still gone on and so much has been done. And this is why it's nice to have these award ceremonies and somebody out there, because that's the thing for me. The curiosity for me is who made the effort to do that nomination for myself as well. So it is something that I do think. But again, I appreciate that individual, whoever it is, who recognised the fact that they wanted to nominate me. So it's always nice when somebody goes to that effort. So I'm hoping some of the other awards that you mentioned as well, Z, that you are nominated in them as well. And you have to let me know how you get on with them.
Yeah, definitely.
But, I thought today, some people, questioned me thinking, well, why didn't you do it next week when the ceremony had happened and then you would get the winners on? And I said, well, for me, all these guys are winners already.
Yeah. And I said that to our team as well. I really sat down and sort of, said to them that the fact that we've been nominated, the fact that we've been recognised is enough. If you were to win, I think that would just be a dream come true. But just to be nominated and to go to such a big platform and celebrate and meet other like-minded people, I think it's going to be a fun night, and I'm really, really excited.
Yes, the same. Absolutely, really looking forward to it, and I think it's a really good opportunity to meet a lot of other really interesting people as well. So, all in all, looking forward to the night, and hopefully, I will see you there on Thursday evening, inshallah. And before you go, any initiative, anything that you're doing as an organisation that you just want to let our listeners know about before I let you go?
Yeah, so we started off as just sort of providing self-defense sessions and mixed martial arts classes. But as you're aware, obviously I am a Guinness World Record holder and a mountaineer. So we sort of now diverting ever so slightly and also offering outdoor pursuits and sort of hiking opportunities. So, just keep a lookout on our website, on our social media, because there's a lot more to come, hopefully. Want to sort of embrace the nature a little bit more, get more women out into the outdoors and accomplish things that they couldn't dream of ever doing, but obviously in baby steps, because I understand when people look at me, they think I can't do what you're doing. Yes, it took a lot of years for me to get to where I am, but all I can say is you have to have faith to take that first step.
I think you're absolutely right, because I think Mount Kilimanjaro, that's quite a bit daunting, to think that we can start. Yeah. We need to start with a baby hill, please.
Absolutely, and this is where the outdoor activities and the hiking is going to start, hopefully after Ramzan as well, because we want to start people off, just walking very locally, a couple of hours a week, and build their stamina, build that strength up till so we sort of set these little goals for individuals and go as a group of people, and then once you've got the mini mountains, go to the big mountains, and then world's your oyster. That
was my next question. That could somebody from literally the couch who doesn't really walk then build up that stamina? Because sometimes you just give up, you just think, well, I don't really do much exercise and I'm just going to struggle, so there's no point.
One thing I've noticed is a lot of people need motivation. And that's something that, as an organisation, we have and we love to give. So, it's sort of pushing those people like, come on, you need to come out. I know it's hard. I know it's cold. I know you can't be bothered, but come on, let's do this together. Let's do it, And I think that ethos has, already sustained within the organisation and within people, that it has, sort of transformed a lot of people's lives already. From our last conversation, we've actually recruited, 10 volunteers, which we are currently training up to hopefully become assistant instructors in all different areas of sport. So that's already a massive achievement. And once we have more volunteers, we'll be able to do more activities and, start involving the youth a little bit more as well in participating. Because we do, we are aware that, getting them young is better. So when they are growing up, they can lead, healthy, successful lives.
And how do people contact you, Z?
So we're on our social media, ZS Defence Academy, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, but also our website is zsdefenceacademy.co.uk. If you want to know more about myself specifically, I have just recently set up my own website, which is trainwithz.co.uk, and that sort of showcases who I am as a person, and then the organisation obviously is ZS Defence Academy.
Fantastic. Well, Z, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, and I'm wishing you all the best for Thursday, and inshallah I'll meet you at the ceremony as well.
Definitely.
And we'll keep our fingers crossed for each other on the night.
Absolutely, yes, definitely. Fingers crossed for not just me and you, but for all the nominees, because I know a lot of the other organisations have been nominated in Blackburn as well, do some fantastic work, and I was so pleased and so happy to see that they've also been nominated, especially Humraz. I've done a lot of work with Humraz. We've just recently done our 6-week course with them as well, and the Muslim Sajideen, which is locally where I live, near to where I live. So, yeah, absolutely great. So good luck to everyone, Inshallah. And we'll see you hopefully on Thursday.
Inshallah. And we have a few representatives from both of them on very shortly. So I'll pass on your wishes to them, Z. Until then, you take care, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much, Dramaya. Thank you.
Okay, that is. So that was Zainab Jogi, who is from teaching martial arts within the community, specifically focusing on our young females, even older females. I don't think you have to be young to be in the criteria, as these just mentioned. And you can literally go from the couch to doing the exercising and getting them skills that you need. So tonight's show is celebrating nominees for the 9th British Muslim Awards, which are happening on Thursday, the 24th of February, just in a couple of days' time. And as I've mentioned, I think these people are winners already. And this is the reason why we are celebrating them, even for the fact that they have got a nomination. So I'm going to be joined very shortly. I'll be back with you very shortly with my next guest, who is Salim Sidat, the chairman of Masjid Sajideen, also a counsellor in Blackburn. And we're going to hear how the excellent work that they've been doing and now have been nominated as a finalist in the Mosque of the Year category. So you're listening to Let's Talk with me, your host, Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Awaz 103.1 FM studios here in the heart of Nelson. And it's quite a busy show this evening. Thank you, Brother Shkeel, for ringing in. Always a pleasure to speak to you. And thank you to Hamayu Mirza, who's listening all the way in Liverpool. Hamayu, I will answer your question in a little while. I just have a few guests on back to back, but after that I will give you a bit of insight into the process for nominating people for the British Muslim Awards. As I mentioned, tonight is a really busy show where we're celebrating some of our finalists, and I'm very pleased to say that I have the chairman of Masjid Sajideen, Salim Sidat, also councillor in Blackburn, with me on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Saima. I hope you're well.
I'm well, thank you, Brother Salim. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Well, mashallah, I was really impressed and inspired when I saw the kind of details of all the nominees that were appearing for the British Muslim Awards. And I thought, you know what, even as finalists, all of these guys are winners because they've been doing some amazing work within the community. And so we should have a show celebrating and dedicated to them. So thank you so much for taking the time out for joining me this evening, first of all.
Thank you very much. And I think I'd like to sort of congratulate all the nominees. Like you said, it is a fantastic achievement just to be nominated. It shows the good work that everybody's doing in the community. So again, my congratulations to everyone.
And how did the Masjid Sajideen hear then that they had been made a finalist?
We recently won the Muslim Council of Britain Awards for the most kindest and Masjid of the Year from them. So it was only about a month ago, and then next thing when I got a phone call to say we've been nominated for the British Muslim Awards as well. We obviously, as a masjid, we didn't set out to do any awards or anything, but it was just sort of, we just wanted to work in a different way within the community. We wanted to make sure that everybody was represented. We cared for the community. To provide namaz for 5 times was very easy. It's what else can we do? And as the chairman, I felt very, very strongly that on the judgment day I would be asked, well, what else did you do? Alhamdulillah, we have 2 big, massive buildings where the masjid is, where the Islamic girls' school is. And what did you do other services? What else did you offer your members and stuff like that? So it was very important for me that we started thinking out of the box.
And mashallah, it's such an amazing achievement because there are so many masjids across the country. And just here in Blackburn, there are so many. And from all of them to be a finalist, I think it's an absolutely magnificent achievement.
Yes, it is. Again, when they found out what we were doing, I recently met the General Secretary for MCB. And apart from away from London, I said, look, you need to look at the work some of us are doing here. And she came down, looked at all the work we were doing, and she was absolutely amazed. The amount of, we had COVID, unfortunately, in between, but the amount of work we were doing with women's groups, with the youth centres, with the youngsters, the ladies' youngsters, and generally, right throughout, we were tackling issues on mental health awareness, on cancer, diabetes, heart disease, anything that was there, and we could help our community get the right information out to. We were ready to help them. And again, we have the facilities, so we wanted to do all of that. The youngsters were crying out for somewhere to go, and as me as growing up through the youngsters, as a youngster growing up in the masjid, it was always a case of we were forced to go to the masjid. We didn't have that our own love to going into the masjid, and I wanted to prove them wrong, to say, no, look, the youngsters, let's open a youth centre here for them. They can come in anytime they want. They can, and we've now got snooker tables, table tennis, bar football, everything. They can come and play here. All I wanted them to do, and again, we didn't preach to them at all. All we wanted them to do was just use the masjid as a hub. And over the years, if somebody asked me what I should have done, I wish I'd prayed my namaz as I was growing up, and I missed out on all of them, so now I have to catch up. I just want the youngsters not to make the same mistake. Use the masjid, just pray namaz. The rest of the hidayah will come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From us, it's just a case of saying, use the masjid to get together, speak and talk about Islam State, speak and talk about everybody else as well. It was very important for me to do that.
And mashallah, I think it's a really wonderful sentiment that you had, because you're giving that safe space to youngsters rather than hanging around on the streets and getting mixed up in bad habits. That there's been real cut in the last 10, 15 years for facilities, locations for children like this. So for the masjid, it's really thinking out of the box, because like you said, for a mosque, you automatically assume it's all going to be about being pressurized to pray, to preach. and not quite the place that children are usually running to attend.
It wasn't just that. It's like we went into partnership with Electricity Northwest and Macmillan's Cancer. And Electricity Northwest didn't have that many sort of people from the BME community working there. They wanted to know how it worked, how people with hijab wore, and how they went about it. And we said, look, nowadays we understand both husband and wife have to work with the expenses it is to buying a house and everything. And we explained to them, look, they need interview techniques, they need help with their CVs. And we had an open day, and alhamdulillah, over nearly 200 people attended. A lot of them were women, and we managed to help a lot with their CVs, with sort of getting interviews. And I'm glad to say a few people did get a job there at Electricity Northwest. Same with Macmillan's Cancer. We've got something like 7 women champions on board now. We've got about 3 men champions on board. And we want to get that message out across them that, look, if somebody gets diagnosed with cancer, there is help out there. As long as you get sort of diagnosed very, very early, we can definitely help you. At the same time, I didn't even know, and I'm learning every day the amount of work that Macmillan's does, including stuff that help with grants and stuff for the cancer people. So it was very, very important for us to get that message out to the community. And we thought the mosque should be the ideal place for all sorts of activities and all sorts of help for other people as well. If they wanted to speak to somebody, they could come to the masjid and alhamdulillah speak in confidence, and we'll get the right person to speak to them to help them, whether it's mental health, cancer, heart, whatever it is, we're ready to help them.
And quite rightly so, if we listen to the stories of our Prophet's time, the mosque was the community hub. It's where
you're right.
all the activity happened. And I think we lost some of that essence that, when I listen to the stories about the Prophet's life, all the discussions and a lot of the things happen at that hub of the masjid. And it's really beautiful to hear that, Masjid Sajideen is working towards becoming that community hub again, that central space where, the followers who come there to pray can also come and seek knowledge on a variety of topics.
No, it has to be, you're right. Me growing up, again, we attended a local mosque that my father had sort of started up way back in the 60s, and it is now what Masjid Sajideen is. With his help, and he'll get rewarded, and all the other people who help will get rewarded abundantly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I felt over the last 20 years we've lost the youngsters, and especially now with social media and all the other stuff that's happening, there isn't that friendship, that there isn't that muhabbat around out there. And we want them to say, no, look, we're all here together. We're in this together. We want to help you. It's like this morning I was talking to somebody who said, look, his gas and electric bill has now increased by nearly £1,300 a year. And he was really worried how it's going to help and what he can do. And we sat down with him and talked to him what other benefits are maybe available to him, how we can help him. But the masjid should be there for that information for everybody else as well. But again, not only just for that, we also want to do fun activities. We took a lot of the ladies to, for example, Brockholes last year. They had a big sort of Jacob's picnic joint there. They all prayed namaz together in the grass, and alhamdulillah, they had a lovely time. And we're trying to look at sort of archery classes this year. Someone want to play tennis. They come up with all sorts of ideas, the ladies groups. And I said, look, I'll try to make everything as much possible as possible, but you've got to use the masjid as the hub of everything. And to be honest, Simon, if I want to get a message across to the men, I just have to speak to the ladies, and they will make sure the message gets across to the men and the youngsters.
Well, I think, mashallah, it's a wonderful achievement, the fact that you're having this nomination. So you're looking forward to the ceremony on Thursday?
I am doing. Unfortunately, I can't attend. I've got a hospital pre-op appointment for that, so I won't be able to attend there, but I think some of my colleagues are going to be there. So, again, I wish all the nominees in every group to say well done, and I hope they go and win it. And I hope the defence guys goes and win it as well.
No, inshallah, yeah, because Sister Zainab Jogi, who said, Mr. Sajideen is in her local area, was just wishing you the best. She's in the kind of community initiative of the year, and it's really nice to see there is local talent. There's a lot of people within this Blackburn area that have been nominated.
I'm surprised the amount of time I've gone through the people. I need help with this. I need help. It's within the community. People are there, but as you go in, we've always left it to the elders. But all of a sudden, we've now got the new batch of youngsters coming in who've got experience in this, that, the other, and we should be bringing them forward. We should be encouraging them, saying, okay, let's get your talents on display, and how can you help us? And it's people like Zainab, honestly, she's brilliant with some of the work she does. And we're trying to work with her on helping women on self-defense classes and whatever. How can we do like walking football? We've done bicycling. There's just so many things that we have done and we wanted. I think we did some like 8 activities last year. And we want to top that more and more and say to people, look, get in touch. If there's something you can help the community with, we're happy to provide the platform, the space, that we've got all that, alhamdulillah, and whatever we can do to help with anybody with a partnership, we're ready for it.
Yeah, I attended the Macmillan event and I didn't even realise that there was the community hall there at Masjid Sajiddin, and I've lived in Blackburn all my life, and it was quite impressive, and I think it made me realise that we do need to look at what spaces we do have within the community, because you don't realize what you have on your doorstep, literally.
We don't, and like I said, we all need to work together. We've got to give up with this thing about this much, that much. We've all got to work together for the benefit of our youngsters, for the benefit of our ladies and everything, and we've got to be able to say to them that, look, let's get out there, let's work together for the community, for the benefit of the community, because we have to help each other. We have to sort of get out there and make people understand. Again, this month we've got a couple of programs on. One is for youngsters to say, look, this hiring cars, driving cars, dangers, how it affects the parents, how it affects the families. We're also trying to speak to people to say, look, you may have bought your houses very cheap back in the 70s and 80s, and how capital gains tax and all that will affect you in this country as well as Islamically, and how we can help them. So we're trying to get some speakers in from London to do that as well. So it is exciting times at the moment.
Well, I think it's just absolutely excellent work that you're doing, and I think it's very, very good that somebody out there decided to make that effort to nominate the masjid and get you that recognition. And so on behalf of Pendle Community Radio, I was 103.1 FM and the whole management team here, want to congratulate you again, because as far as I'm concerned, you are the winner. And if anybody wanted to get in touch with the masjid, wanted to get some more information about some of the activities that you're doing, how would they go about doing that?
My telephone number is 07973 657 542, or they could email me on cllrsalimsidat@gmail.com.
That's fantastic. Well, wishing you and the masjid all of the best. I know that you're not able to make the ceremony itself, but inshallah, somebody else will be representing there, and hopefully we will be waiting on Thursday evening here to hear, inshallah, that you get that award. Inshallah.
Thank you very much, Saima.
No worries. Thank you so much, Salim.
Thank
you for coming on this evening. So that was Brother Salim Sidat, who is the chairman of Masjid Sajiddin in Blackburn, who have been nominated in the Mosque of the Year category at the British Muslim Awards. And for those of you who have been listening over the last just under an hour, you'll be aware tonight's show is dedicated to celebrating those people who have been nominated for a British Muslim Award. And while, the ceremony isn't until Thursday, and I know some of you might be thinking, well, maybe we should have waited until next week and we had the winners. As far as I'm concerned, to have the nomination from so many, hundreds and thousands of people up and down the country, I think it's quite an achievement in itself. So I thought these people deserve that recognition and should be celebrated. So this is why we are here on the show this evening discussing and introducing you to some of these amazing people. Very shortly, we're going to be joined by Feroza Mohammed, who is the chief exec at Hamraz, based in Blackburn too. And before we go to her, I've had a message from Humayun Mirza in Liverpool asking, how do you go about nominating somebody for one of these awards? Now, from what I understand, there's a time period in which the nominations open up. I believe that was last year in 21, and the closing date was around the 11th of December. And then off the back of the nominations, they had an independent board which went through all the different people nominated under the categories. As I mentioned, there's 33 different categories, and they then announced the nominees, which in the categories there's up to like 10 people that have been narrowed down from up and down the country. This is an award ceremony that is national, but each year the ceremony has moved locations. It's been last ceremony, the 8th ceremony, was celebrated in Bradford pre-COVID, and this is the next ceremony now, the 9th ceremony, which is going to happen in Manchester. In the past it happened in Leeds, in Leicester, in Birmingham. So they do try and make the effort to move around the country, so that we're not just focusing on one area and making it difficult for usually what is the northerners having to travel down south. So trying to be fair, and it looks like quite a nice ceremony that all these nominees should have a lot of fun at. So we've already heard from Zen Yogi, who is a martial arts instructor and has done a lot of work with women. And then we've heard from Salim Sadat, the chairman of Masjid Sajideen in Blackburn, who have been nominated for the Mosque of the Year. And next we're going to be coming with Firoza Mohammed, the chief exec of Hamraz, who have been nominated for Charity of the Year. So stay with me. This is Let's Talk with me, your host, Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Avaz 103.1 FM studios, here in the heart of Nelson. So you're listening to Let's Talk with me, your host, Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Avaz 103.1 FM studios, here in the heart of Nelson. Just want to say hi to a few listeners online on Facebook. Wasim Bhai, how are you? Listening in Spain. We have Rahat Abbas listening too. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying the program and hearing from a bunch of our nominees for the British Muslim Awards. And anybody that wants to give me a ring, you can give me a ring on 01282 723 455. You can also WhatsApp me on 07522 723 455. And I'm very pleased to say that, it's a very fast-moving show this evening with lots and lots of guests because lots of nominees to celebrate. But I'm very pleased to say that I do have the chief exec of Hamraz on the line with me right now, Feroza Mohammed, even if I pronounce it correctly. Assalamu alaikum, Feroza.
Walaikum salam, Saima.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, good. Thank you for inviting me to
no
your program.
First of all, on behalf of Pendle Community Radio, I was on 3.1 FM. Can I welcome you on the show and thank you for taking the time out to join me this evening?
No problem.
Well, when I was looking at the nominees and I saw Hamraz's name and I thought, what an amazing organization. And especially when it's coming up to your 20th year in existence and to be recognized in the category of charity of the year must be quite a humbling and amazing experience.
Absolutely. I mean, when we were contacted, it was like, is that for real? And then when I saw the list of nominations, I'm blown away because these are international charities that, we all know about, their household names. And being a grassroots organisation at the heart of Blackburn, although we do serve women up and down the country, it was amazing. That recognition, obviously everybody likes recognition, but we have worked with our hearts and soul to keep women and girls safe. And always, in organisations like ourselves, when it's led by women for women, funding is a huge problem. So we've had lots of struggles through our 20 years. And we're in a really good position at the moment. We do some really good work. We change women's lives. And recently, I would say in the past 5 to 8 years, the bulk of our work has been around migrant women with no recourse to public funds. So these are the most vulnerable in our society. So yeah, it's nice to be recognised. I'm not sure who nominated us, but somebody has seen the work that we've done and taken their time to nominate. So we're really pleased.
Excellent. I mean, and this is what I was saying to Zainab earlier on, who's been nominated as well. And I said to her that, for somebody, I know you guys don't do this work for this recognition. You're just passionate in whichever area you're working in. Yet, for somebody to take that time out to sit down to write a nomination, and I believe it is a 500-word nomination for the British Muslim Award. So it must be quite humbling to hear that somebody's made that effort.
Yeah, especially the kind of work that we do. It's not something that we have been able to openly speak about in the years past. Things are changing, society's changing. There's more acceptance in our community that we have issues that we need to deal with and not brush them under the carpet. So we have been able to reach out more into the local communities, East Lancashire, to say that we're here. We're here for any woman that needs advice, that needs safe accommodation, and just to rebuild her life. So yeah, it's amazing.
And I think the fantastic thing that these type of awards do is for organisations like yourself, Rosa, it gives you that added exposure. Suddenly, people, may not even be aware of you guys being around, and then you're pushed out again into the community where people see what you're all about.
Yeah, and in particular during lockdown when services had shut down and there was no face-to-face appointments, we all know that domestic violence rose, and with services not being able to take women into their safe accommodation because we couldn't move women on, we started that work in the community. We started providing the women the advice, guidance, securing their immigration. Although we couldn't have them in our refuge, we found safe accommodation for them. Sometimes it was with the community people, sometimes it was in bed and breakfast. But we understood that, women will reach out if they need to. If there's a service like ours, more advertised where it's led by and for the women that we serve, we know we're going to get a lot more referrals. But we have to look at our resources as well. We can't just do a media campaign of, this is what we're providing. we've only got 12 bed spaces, so we can only have 12 families in at any one time. But we have got resources that we can look for refuge up and down the country. There is a service that we have online that all refugees will put on their vacancy. So we can find them safe accommodation outside this borough. But our referrals in refuge, they come from national. It could be from anywhere in the country. We don't turn any woman away if we've got bed space and she fits the criteria, and we do a risk assessment.
Well, what I think is really amazing is that, as you said, domestic violence and domestic abuse, it's a taboo topic anyway. And then to have an, organisation like yourself focusing on women from the Black, Asian, minority ethnic community, the community that really sweeps this topic under the carpet. I know you mentioned, in the last 5 to 8 years, we are moving in the right direction. But, just even in the first instance to set this up 20 years ago, it must have taken some, a lot of hard work to even get you guys off the ground.
Yeah, it was an initiative of local women, and they had lots of struggles. They had, obviously, the community wasn't backing a safe house. There was conversations around splitting families up. But when a couple are going through hardships, we are recommended that they separate for a short period of time. It's just that respite period, just to understand what's happened, and how, if possible, if the perpetrator needs help or whatever the issues are, we need to work through them. So having space for women was really, really crucial. And, these women, and I hold my hand to them, and may Allah give them high maqam, because what they set up, and I hope we are fit enough to, carry on their legacy, because they had no funding. They did it on a volunteer basis. There was lots and lots of the challenges that they had. These are the days when bounty hunters were around, so their own lives were, put in danger. We've moved on, but there's still more work to do. We need to reach out to communities to understand the patterns of abuse. Sexual abuse is another taboo subject within our community. But you put a group of women together, and they'll talk about childhood abuse or sexual abuse within relationships or whatever it is. It's still something that we really need to tap into and get to the core of the issue and support these women, because they hold on to these experiences, the trauma that they carry, and then that manifests into mental health and all other kind of issues as they grow older or not get the right help. So it's really important to seek support for anybody. It could be yourself, or it could be somebody that you know. Just ring us. Just take some advice. It's very confidential. We can see you face to face on a one-to-one basis. And apart from the safe accommodation centres, this is the work that we do. We have a community hub that women come to. We have an open coffee morning. We have a peer support group for professional women. We've got courses on that we run. There's self-esteem, one-to-one coaching and mentoring, art therapy. It's very holistic. It's needs-led, and it's very holistic. And we will try and accommodate any woman that comes into our service. So it doesn't have to be somebody that needs refuge accommodation. We've got support in the community that they come to. We have a hub that they can access.
Well, I can, personally, I for one, really proud and champion the excellent work that you're doing, and the peer support, group that we have for the professional women. Personally, been a part of that for the last couple of years, and met some absolutely fantastic women and built such a wonderful network in that time. And I really appreciate Hamraz taking that lead, because again, when I mention that to people, they say that's really unique, that's really individual. Professional women from like the BAME kind of community, people are really impressed, and so many are like, wow, I'd be really interested to hear more about that. And this is the thing, there's so much that you guys are doing that I'm really, really pleased that you've got this nomination, so that people will make that effort to go and read up a bit more about what you're doing. Because I truly believe you deserve that recognition. And as you've said, 20 years ago, I know it's only, some people might think, oh, it's 2002, only 20 years ago, but the difficulties you mentioned really did exist. And I'm pleased that as a community it has improved. But the fact is, women did risk a lot for you guys to come into existence. So really made up with this nomination, and I'm going to be hoping and praying you'll hear lots of whooping for you guys, inshallah, when you win on Thursday. Are you all set for the ceremony then? Have you got your glad rags and going?
Yeah, in between our work and challenges that we have, yeah. As women, we have so many hats. It's not just work. We come home and there's food to cook and, children to see to and husbands and, yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously we want to enjoy the night. Hopefully there'll be some networking opportunities there as well. So, yeah, there's 4 of us going.
Fantastic. And I hope you've told the husbands that you're having a night off and it's their turn to look after the kids.
Absolutely.
Yes, tell them that it's a late one. Don't expect us back in time to put the kids, because inshallah there'll be a lot of celebrating to do, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing you on the night as well. On behalf of Pendle Community Radio, Awaz 103.1 FM, once again, congratulating you on that nomination. And if somebody wanted to get in touch with Hamraz, how would they go about doing that?
Okay, so our telephone number is 01254 695 800, and that's between 9 and 5. We have email info@humraz.org.uk. We've got Facebook and Twitter. We've got our website, which is humraz.co.uk. And we have staff that speak a number of languages, so you don't have to worry about not being able to speak English. So yeah.
And if somebody listening out there is suffering from domestic abuse, isn't in the position where they're thinking they want to take that step of coming to a refuge, but is it still worth them getting in touch, seeing what support is available to them?
Yeah, so when they get in touch with us, we'll obviously talk through what the issue is and what they want to do. We'll guide them, safety plan, and arrange for whatever it is that they want. If we're full, we'll find somewhere else for them. Support them if they want to report it. Not Asian women tend not to report it. They just want to get out and get some respite and deal with the issues. There's honour involved in that. There's family back home that could be at threat. It's very complex. So at the time, whatever the woman wants, we'll work with her.
Fantastic. Well, wishing you all the best for Thursday. I'm hoping you bring it home for Hamraz. And what a wonderful gift in the year that it's your 20th anniversary as well.
Yeah, that was amazing, like the cherry on the cake.
Absolutely.
But I want to just wish everybody, we've got some fantastic people in Blackburn that have been nominated and are finalists, including yourself. And I'm born in Blackburn, so just to have as many people listed on these different categories, I just feel really, really proud.
Absolutely. I mean, I was very surprised when I've seen the article that went out last week in the Telegraph, where I've seen so many nominees from this area, and I was just like, wow, look how much talent we have. Yeah. And this is the point that I'm saying, to the listeners as well, to realise that this isn't just, a Northwest, a Lancashire-based award ceremony. This is the British Muslim Awards. It's for people up and down the country. You, out of thousands of charities up and down the country, have been recognised and, given this nomination. So it is a huge achievement, the fact that you've got this recognition as a nominee in the first instance, and hopefully you can bring it home for Hamraz and Blackburn as well, inshallah.
Inshallah. Let's be on the night. Let's just enjoy the night as well.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody's a winner.
Yes, definitely. And inshallah, wishing you, even more success, because as you've, explained just in the last 10-15 minutes, Hamraz has achieved a lot. And as you said, there's still so much more to do.
Yeah. If I can just take a few seconds.
Yeah, sure.
So when we work with women with no recourse to public funds, that means that they are not eligible for public funds. So, during Ramadan or just before Ramadan, we all start thinking about where we want to pay our zakat to.
Mm-hmm.
Just a sort of shout out to people that, we do take zakat for those women who have got no access to benefit, who've got no accommodation, nothing to sort of, shop with food and clothes. Do consider donating to Hamraz, and the money is spent very wisely. It only goes to those women that need it. We do all the checks. It's just a shout out. Sorry to take that time, but
No,
coming up to that time of the year, and we're always struggling.
No. It's charity of the year. Is the category, so of course, we want the listeners to have that thought process. And as you've said, these are women here in the UK. I know a lot of people tend to give to charities abroad, but they need to realise that there are people in hardship here as well, all living around us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fine, Froza. Wishing you all the best, and inshallah, I will see you on Thursday night.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. So you're listening to Let's Talk with me, your host, Saim Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Avaz 103.1 FM studios, here in the heart of Nelson. And wow, it's just coming up to 6:20. I don't know where tonight's show is going, but it is very, very busy. And we've already had chats with 3 of my 4 guests. I don't know where the time is going tonight. But as I repeatedly keep saying, we are celebrating the British Muslim Awards. We're talking to some nominees who will be, inshallah, enjoying the ceremony on Thursday evening. And before I bring on my final guest, I'll just mention that, yes, the nominees run up until the 11th of December. And then once you were contacted as somebody who was going to be a finalist, you had to submit evidence, as Zainab referred to in her conversation as well, to demonstrate all the work that you have done to prove the fact that you should be in the relevant category that you're being nominated. So it isn't just that somebody writes in and you just get nominated. You've got to really prove your worth. And then from there, a decision will be made by an independent panel, and nobody knows who's winning in whichever category until Thursday night. So it's very exciting. We'll see what happens for our winners, but quite a lot of talent from here in the Blackburn East Lancashire area. So we decided that on tonight's show we are going to celebrate. So very shortly, I'm going to be joined by our dental partner, who is been recognising the professional in business, Khalid Master. So stay with me, those of you who are listening to me. Stay with me, and I'll be joining you very shortly with my last guest. So you're listening to Let's Talk with me, your host, Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Avaz 103.1 FM, studios in the heart of Nelson. And as I have been saying throughout the last hour and 20 minutes, tonight's show is celebrating some nominees from the British Muslim Awards. And I'm very pleased to say that I do have my last guest of the evening, Khalid Master, who is a dental partner at the Bank View Smile Studios based in Blackburn. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Khalid.
Wa alaikum salam.
First of all, on behalf of Pendle Community Radio, Avaz 103.1 FM, can I welcome you on the program and thank you for taking the time out to come on the show this evening?
No, Jazakallah khair. Thanks for the invite.
And before we continue, first of all, this isn't your first time being a nominee. And
No.
not only are you a nominee, you're actually a winner of a British Muslim Award.
Yes, Jazakallah. Yeah, I was very fortunate enough to have been nominated 2018, and I was also honoured to be the outright winner in my category.
Well, this is why I saved you till last, because all the other people are nominees for the first time, so we have no idea what we're getting ourselves into. So now you can give a bit of an insight into the ceremony itself, and
Of course.
and then being called up onto the stage, etc., and how that felt then in 2018 when you won that previous British Muslim Award.
Yeah, no, it's a huge honour, and I think that Oceanic Consulting, who are the organizer of the event, as you know, I'm sure, they're very well experienced. They've been doing this for over a decade. They have a portfolio of award ceremonies that they hold, of which the British Muslim Awards is one of their flagship ones. It's going to be a glitzy, glamorous affair. They've held them in hotels, and usually five-star hotels in the past and around the country. So it is a national award, even though I think you've covered the fact that we've been very, very fortunate that there's a big Northwest and Lancashire contingent in the finalists in all the categories. So we're very well represented. And that was the case when I was there as well. So I think we've got something, a lot to celebrate. And I know we don't always get that positive spotlight on us, but this is definitely one of them. And I think what makes it special this year is that with it being a Muslim award, that it's being held at the Muslim Heritage Centre in Manchester, which will be a first for me as well. And I think it's very appropriate that it's being held there because it's celebrating, obviously, the Heritage Centre highlights our rich and positive past, and hopefully now with the award ceremony it's going to highlight and shine a light on our positive future.
Yeah, definitely, inshallah. I mean, like I said, I was really humbled and inspired too, by seeing so much talent just within this area. And we, like you said, we get a lot of negativity. We get a lot of people, banging us with the labels of deprived areas, etc. And even being number one throughout COVID and all this kind of stuff, we've had a lot in the last couple of years.
We have
to deal with. And then despite all this hardship, to see then so many people, organizations, initiatives, going that extra mile within the community, and the fact that now they're being recognized, I thought, you know what, these guys are all winners already. And
yeah, you're right. You're right. Even to be in the list, in the short list, is a huge achievement. And I think you've also highlighted the fact that there's a very broad range. We're not just talking maybe just professionals or just the third sector and the charitable work that we do, or the religious institutions. That it's business, small business, large business, enterprise, young people, slightly older people, and it's such a broad range and breadth of talent as well. It is definitely something we should be proud of.
Absolutely. And I think, we need to put a real, huge light on the fact that there is this talent here locally.
Yeah.
And inshallah, this is our future. And it's for the listeners to see as well that, look at these people doing this extra work. And this is why I got a variety of people from so many different, nominations, completely diverse nominations, so that they could see that it's all different parts of your lives, be it your professional career, be it on a volunteer basis, be it just your local masjid. You can make that difference within the community. And for yourself, then you are in the professional in business category.
Yeah.
And first of all, I've been looking at the name of your dental center, and I was thinking this is quite a unique name. So I thought I'm going to ask you first of all, what's the story behind the name? Because it's Bankview Smile Studios. And
absolutely,
I think that's really important, because I'm very proud by my teeth.
Yeah, and you should be.
It's all about the smile. Your teeth have to look.
And that was the thing. I mean, just to give you a brief history. I mean, I'm actually an immigrant. I was born in India, and I came to the UK when I was 4 years old. So I've been raised and I've been educated in Blackburn. So obviously, I consider myself a local lad. But I was fortunate enough to get into a local primary school, St Albans, and then Notre Dame. I don't think the school exists anymore because it was amalgamated with John Rigby to form Our Lady and St John, and then St Mary's College, and then I went to Liverpool as my university. Then I did my training in Accrington. I did almost 10 years at Antley Villa Dental Practice, which was on Blackburn Road in Accrington, and then I got the opportunity to buy my own practice. So as you've said, I think in your introduction, I've bought it in partnership with my best friend and colleague Thomas Sarpong. So we bought the practice in 2010. But it was named, historically practices were named after the people who owned them, and the one that I bought was no different. It was Mr. Timothy Holt. So it was T.J. Holt and Associates Dental Practice. And when Thomas and I had an opportunity to buy it, and we sat down and thought about naming it, what we thought was that we need to, in a way, depersonalize it. It shouldn't be something to do about us. It should be about the service that we offer. So the two of us have always believed in holistic care, and we've always talked about treating the whole patient. So what we thought is our ultimate aim is about producing a smile, both with regards to the way in which we provide the treatment as well as the quality of the outcome. And so we thought, rather than call it a dental practice, and then we thought that that's where the smile part came. And of course, this was also at a time when cosmetic dentistry was on the rise. We were starting to follow the lead that America had set 2-3 decades ago, and people were very conscious. I think social media was just starting to take off in 2010 as well. So people self-image and how they portrayed themselves and how they saw themselves was on the rise. So hence that's where the studio element came in, because ultimately we're very, very aware that dentistry is a high fear, low trust profession. I think that if we did a survey across the Northwest or even the country, if you talk about the 10 places that you would least likely to go voluntarily, I'm sure dentistry is in amongst that top 10. The general rule is that people go because they have to rather than where they want to. But we always believed in patient-centered care. Our motto is calm and gentle dentistry. And that's how we are as people. So we want to get to know you as a person. We want to understand your obstacles, your fears, your frustrations, as well as your desires for what you want for your oral health and your smile outcome. Because ultimately, teeth, they serve the function of 3 main functions of speaking, smiling, and eating, which are human values and things that people will want to do and do well. And so it isn't just about the comfort factor or the restoration, where someone comes in with a broken tooth or with some decay and it's just a case of cleaning it out and doing a filling. But it's treating that person as a whole, sometimes trying to understand why something's broken, and not just treating the tooth, but treating the mouth. And I remember when I was in my final year of dental school, they did tell us that, the competent dentists amongst you will be teeth dentists, where you'll be presented with a tooth problem and you'll fix it, and that's fine, for basic care. But the good dentists amongst you will be mouth dentists, because you look at the whole environment and try and ascertain sometimes etiology of why something's happened. And then the very best amongst you will be people dentists. And that's something that I always remember, and it resonated with me, that I need to treat the whole person. For instance, in the case of appointments, to try and work around their schedule. If you work shifts, or you do some on-calls, or have some late nights, have some weekends, try and have your appointment on their day off. And these are the kind of things that we do to try and make things patient-centered care, because within healthcare for really, I would say, the last 4 or 5 decades, it's always been clinician-centered, everything around the person who's providing that and what makes it easy for them. And you'll remember the time in the era when we were younger, you'd have heard the phrase, "Trust me, I'm a doctor," or "Trust me, I'm a, whatever health professional you are," and patients would just have to put their entire trust in these people and know what they were doing. But unfortunately, like every other profession, there was some bad practice and malpractice. Of course, we know that, and that's been highlighted in the media, and rightly so. But that meant that patients and the general public started to lose trust and lose faith in a lot of professions, and so we had to work harder. And so Thomas and I, we looked at the patient journey from start to finish, deconstructed it, looked at each and every aspect, and saw where the obstacles were, what the things that patients would be fearful of, and then reconstructed them at Bankview Smile Studios in a way in which it was going to be centered around them and provided for in a calm and gentle manner.
Well, Khalid, I just love the way that you just put all that together so eloquently and so beautifully. And I love your ethos, especially because I'm going to tell you my personal story of I have a real phobia of dentists. And it's not just like a maid. I know a lot of people are like scared going to the dentist as soon as they hear the drills, etc. They're scared. But with me, when I was 7 years old, actually, I had a junior dentist that was just, I remember going in to see the dentist, and then they say, "Oh, there's a student dentist who wants to take a look as well," and a tiny little vein got nicked in my mouth and that I ended up hospitalized with it because it tried to stop the bleeding, and that put the fear of dentist in me. So
absolutely.
So 2 things came out of it. One thing that I really try and make an effort in taking care of my teeth, so I don't need to go to the dentist.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, then obviously we do have to go to dentists and keep getting our regular checkups and making sure that we're keeping on top of, or as you've said, it's not just looking after the teeth, it's the gums, it's the whole kind of hygiene in the mouth, which is really important. And that's why I kind of do make that effort to go to the dentist. And like I said to you, I am very smile focused. If you ever see my pictures, you will see my smile and you will see my teeth. So it's very important to do.
And you've highlighted 2 really important things there, which is that, and this is another philosophy that we adopt, which is prevention is better than the cure. To try and nip something in the bud, or not allow it to happen in the very first place, is the very best way in which you can prevent harm and prevent negative experiences, because they don't happen. But for that to happen, you need to be proactive, and that's the second part, which is that proactivity is better than reactivity. So what I would say to the listeners is that no matter how anxious or nervous you are, obviously go by word of mouth if you have to. Find a person who you have trust and that you can build some rapport with. Obviously anyone in the Blackburn area we're accepting new patients, so you're always welcome to come and see us. But I do appreciate some people are further afield, and so find someone local that you can trust and build rapport with. Go with people who are existing patients and ask them what their opinion is. And then once you've done that, do go and see them regularly, as often as they want to. People do have to understand that not everyone has to go every 6 months. Some people who are high need might need to even go every 3 months, or other people with slightly less need who look after themselves really well might be once a year or 18 months. But as a general rule, as a minimum of once a year, or however frequently your dental professional advises you, that's the very best way in order to try and keep on top of things.
Well, from the way that you've just spoken today as well, it just, you just ooze with the professionalism that I think you have. And I'm going to ask you this question because you speak with so much passion. You meet people who are professionals in a whole host of fields, yet they don't ever speak very passionately about whichever area they're working in. But you speak really passionately, so I've got to ask you, did you always want to be a dentist?
That's a really good question, and I always wanted to be a healthcare professional, but being honest, I wanted to be a doctor when I first started, and it was something that my late father instilled in me. Just to go through a small contextual backstory regarding my dad, my grandfather. So my surname, because some people ask me about my surname as well, and it comes from my grandfather, who was a university lecturer in Bombay, and so he was known as Master Sahib. And of course, like with most things, even in the UK, your name comes from the profession that you're in. And so my dad wanted to follow in his footsteps and wanted to become a teacher. But my grandfather, unfortunately, when my dad was 19, he suffered quite a catastrophic stroke. It left him hemiplegic, so he was wheelchair bound, and half of the right side of his body just wouldn't function. And so just when my dad was going to enter his further and higher studies, he ended up having to look after my grandfather. And in India, of course, some of the healthcare is quite rudimentary, and a lot of the doctors said that he wouldn't last too long, just make preparations and make his life comfortable for the rest of, the next few months. But my grandfather, being the way he was, and of that generation, they were all fighters. So he was like that almost for 8 or 9 years. And so my dad was the primary carer, and he took over the patriarchal duties, and my grandmother and my 2 aunts would be, and my mum would be the carers for my granddad. So by the time he passed, my dad had kind of missed the opportunity to follow in his footsteps. And of course, I was born and I was quite young. So he pinned a lot of those hopes on me, thinking whatever he missed out on, that I would fulfill those dreams. And so unbeknown to me, of course, there was all this pressure on me when I was young, but I was the firstborn as well. So the firstborns are usually more responsible and take more responsibility. So we emigrated from India to Zambia for a short period in Central Africa. So I was there for 9 months, and then we came to the UK, as I said, when I was just short of 4, I think. And so he'd always told me that, when you grow up, I think that you should be a doctor. So, of course, I didn't have any other ideas, so, of course, you listen to your parents. So I thought, well, it's as good a job as any. So he'd kind of told me from a young age that that's what I was going to do. And I remember when I was, I would have been in primary school in year 2 or year 3. I still remember when I was in St. Albans that we had circle time. So we were sitting on the rug, and in those days we used to get that half a pint of milk. And so I look back now and I think the teacher was probably just not wanting to start a new lesson and just probably had 5-10 minutes to kill. So we sat down, we were drinking our milk, and she just said, why don't we go around the room and tell everyone what you want to be when you grow up, So you had your regular, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a professional footballer. And so I came along and I said, I want to be a doctor. And so everyone's like, oh, really, are you? Why is that then? And I just said, well, because my dad told me. So that brought the whole room. Everyone was laughing. But I thought, well, it's a reasonable answer, isn't it? I don't see why everyone's finding it so funny. And I remember when I was in high school, I think it was my RE teacher, who interestingly is my patient now. And I remember him saying as well that, I don't think you'll be a doctor, Khalid. And I said, right, why don't you have any faith in me? And he said, no, not that. I think your handwriting's far too neat. But, of course, nowadays everything's printed because, of course, in those days the prescriptions were handwritten. And so I think everyone was having their say, and I thought, well, I'll give it a whirl. And I was always quite good at science. I think that knowing the disciplines within medicine, I always knew that I was going to be a surgeon if I was going to be a doctor, as opposed to a physician or a general practitioner. But as as luck has it, and I tell my students, so I think you may know that I'm very prolific when it comes to work experience students. We've had 4 in last week as well over half term, and I think we've had 160 in the last 12 years. So, I always try it. Like you've said, I think anyone who meets me, they know that I'm very passionate about dentistry and also passionate about giving back and helping others. So from that perspective, I know that inspiring the next generation is a big part of that. But every time the students are sitting there and they say, oh, what if I don't get into dentistry, and do you have any ideas? I always tell them my personal story, which was that I wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't quite get the grades. I was one grade off one subject. And I think it was one of the first years that the examining board used to give you your exact mark. Prior to that, they would just tell you whether you got a grade or you didn't. So you wouldn't know where your grade boundary was. And so the first year was the year when they released it, and I thought, just out of intrigue, I'd find out. And in the end, in hindsight, I'd rather I hadn't, because I found out I was 0.86 marks off the grade that I needed to get in. And when I found that out, I was devastated that I was that close and off one subject in one grade that didn't allow me to do my dream job. And also, I was a high achiever in school, and this is the first time I didn't actually succeed in what I'd set my heart to and mind to. So my dad told me, he said, look, you can look at it, it's all about perspective. You can look at it in the way of disappointment, which is clearly the way in which you're doing. But you can also look at it that as Muslims, we believe in tawakkul. And the destiny for you lies somewhere else. That if you've come this close but you've not achieved it, then Allah has a different plan. And so we just need to find what that plan is. And so I resat my A-levels, and then I had a chance conversation with someone who was studying dentistry, because I was in his class when I was in Masjid. I was at Bignell Mosque. So I was in his class, and there was another guy in my class who was already Hafiz, but he'd gone on to study dentistry. So I told him the story that, look, I've missed out on medicine. I'm going to reapply. And he said, look, I think you're missing a trick. I don't think you should apply for medicine. You should apply for dentistry. So I said the worst thing that you could say to a dentist, which is, looking in people's mouths. Why would I want to do that? So, of course, he looked at me with disgust and said, at the time, ER had just taken over, so I think listeners would know that he said, look, it's not all glamorous.
Yes.
Tell me the difference between that and gastrointestinal medicine or obs and gynae. It's all about poking around in holes. So, ultimately, I know that your skill lies with your hands. You've got a lot of manual dexterity. You've clearly got scientific know-how. So even if we were going to go down the medicine route, I think you'd be a surgeon. And I agreed with him. So he said, why don't you do dentistry? Because not only are you a dental surgeon, but you're also a specialist on the day of graduation. Because the way in which the medical pathway and the educational pathway is that the medics do their 5 years undergrad. Then in my day, they would do a year for house officer, 2 years for senior house officer, then registrar, senior registrar, and then consultant. So the pathway is about 12 to 15 years. That's after you've done your 5 years at uni. So it's a very long pathway. Whereas he said that because dentists have 8 sub-disciplines within that, by the time you've learnt those, you're a specialist in your own right in the mouth and the oral cavity. And so it's a shorter pathway. It seems to tick all the boxes. I think you should apply for dentistry. So second time round, I applied for dentistry. I got in, as they say, the rest is history.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And a truly inspiring story, and a very modest person comes across to me as well. Seriously.
No, alhamdulillah. I think that I'm well grounded, because these are the values that my parents brought me up with, and it's all about hard work and dedication, but also trying to be the best that you can be as well.
Absolutely.
Because you have a duty to yourself and to your family, and we also know to our religion as well.
100%.
We want to be good examples of good Muslims to everyone that we come across.
Well, wonderful values that you're describing then. I really hope that the listeners have heard your journey, your story, and I really appreciate and feel inspired. in whichever field they go into. Because this is the point that I wanted to make. Mashallah, you speak so passionately about the field that you're in, and I really think that you deserve this nomination of professional in business, because it just comes across just in this half an hour chat that we've just had. So I am going to be praying and keeping my fingers crossed for you on Thursday night, and do come over and say hi.
Of
inshallah.
course, no, I will, and of course I wish you all the best in your category and all the other local nominees. Let's bring it home for Lancashire, inshallah.
Inshallah. And on behalf of Pendle Community Radio, Awaz 103.1 FM, and all the management team, I want to kind of congratulate you again, and thank you for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. You might even see me turning up at your studios now.
Of course, you're more than welcome. We'll roll out the red carpet.
Thank you, because especially with the way that you have put me at ease just by speaking to you. So I might actually get over my phobia of dentists as well.
Inshallah. More than happy to help.
Excellent. So until I'm sure next week I'll give a summary at the next show. But until then, until Thursday night, let's hope and pray that we do bring it home for Lancashire. It's a pleasure speaking to you, Khalid.
Likewise. Jazakallah.
Take care. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
So you're listening to Let's Talk with me, your host, Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Awaz 103.1 FM studios here in the heart of Nelson. So you're listening to Let's Talk with me, your host Sam Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Avaz 103.1 FM studios here in the heart of Nelson. And I have no idea where tonight's show has gone. It has absolutely flown by. It's been a busy, busy show for me. Thank you to my favorite auntie who rings me every single week and checks in on how I'm doing. Thank you, Auntie G. It's always nice to get the regular listeners give me a call and seeing how we're doing. It really makes you feel that whole community, family experience here at Pendle. And, I've been now doing this show, nearly 2, I think, it's been 2 years. Wow, gosh, I was going to say nearly 2 years, but it's actually been 2 years. So, it's always nice to always hear from the listeners and know that we're having that impact. And yes, I forgot this earlier on to say that I hadn't been on last week, just because I had something on personally, but I'm, back on this week, and this whole show has been celebrating some of our British Muslim Award nominees. The award ceremony, the 9th British Muslim Award ceremony, is taking place at the Muslim Heritage Centre in Manchester on Thursday, the 24th of February. And tonight's show was to celebrate some of these nominees. We had Zen Yogi on in the first hour, who talked around being nominated in the Community Initiative Award. She's a fantastic woman who's done a lot of work within the community and really doing a lot of work to empower our women, our girls, teaching them martial arts, self-defense. She's also done a Guinness World Record, and I think she deserves that recognition. After that, we spoke to Salim Sidat, who is the chairman of Masjid Sajideen in Blackburn. And he talked around the excellent work that the masjid has done throughout COVID and before. They have been recognised by the Muslim Council of Britain with an award too. And now they have this nomination for being the Mosque of the Year too. So again, a well-deserved nomination. Brother Salim, he provided us a lot of detail around the work being done to make the masjid the community hub, to make it the safe haven, the space where our youngsters want to go and hang out, and not just constantly forcing them to pray and preaching to them, but giving them the opportunity to do some other things like archery, table tennis, etc. So making it a fun experience for them. So another well-deserved nomination. Then in the Charity of the Year category, we heard from Feroza Mohamed, the chief exec of Hamraz, domestic abuse, domestic violence refuge for women. And what a wonderful year for them to receive their nomination in when it's their 20th anniversary coming up. And what would be really nice, I think, is if they receive that recognition that they deserve for all the excellent work that they do. And then lastly, we just had a really in-depth, wonderful conversation with Khalid Master, who is from Bank View Smile Studios, and they have been nominated for professionalism in business. And from just talking to Khalid, for those of you who listen into that interview, and even Auntie G, who just gave me a call, made the same point that, he spoke so eloquently, so nicely, and his professionalism came across just through the half an hour conversation that I just had with him. And they, were really hoping and wishing that he does win within his category. And, I'm praying for all the nominees, not only those from here in Lancashire, but, across the country, receiving this recognition, the hard work that they put in, and being somebody who is nominated in a category this year as well, and being very much of the attitude that we don't do these activities to receive this kind of recognition, yet it is still humbling when somebody makes that effort to go and to write a nomination. And like I said, when you spend that time reflecting on your work, the things you've been involved with, your achievements over a period of time, and then to put that down on, in writing and sending that across as the evidence, was quite a humbling experience for me, 100%. And I know it was for a lot of the other nominees too. And so yes, I am in the Civil Servant of the Year category. This is for my day job, working at Merseyside Police as a senior auditor. So looking forward to the night, looking forward to meeting the guests I had on the show this evening on the night. And next week I'll give you a roundup and a bit of an update of our local individuals, those who did go ahead and win. And like I said, it's not just about the winning. The fact that we received these nominations is an achievement in itself. And for me, one of the humbling things was, to look at the caliber of people that I'm up against within my category. These guys are professionals, people who I have a lot of respect for. The previous winner of my award is actually the civil servant who resigned working from Boris Johnson for 14 years, Munira Mirza. So it's that caliber of people that you are being compared to, and so a truly humbling experience for me too. And I just want to hope that the listeners are inspired and motivated to go on and achieve and do things too. All these people I spoke to are from within your area. This Blackburn, East Lancashire area. All the work that they're doing is within this area. So feel inspired and do something with your life. We're all here on this earth to make a difference. We all should be leaving with a legacy. We should all be aspiring to be better human beings, better Muslims on a daily basis. And look at the variety of categories that we've heard from today. There are 33 categories in total. And try and achieve something and have that recognition for yourself too, because as I've said, it is truly a humbling experience. So looking at the clock, I can't believe it's only a minute to 7 p.m. So I'm going to wrap up now. This is Let's Talk with me, your host, Saima Ashraf, coming to you from Pendle Community Radio, Avaz 103.1 FM studios here in the heart of Nelson. Each and every single week, coming to you on a Tuesday evening between 5 and 7 p.m. Inshallah, God willing, everything being fine and well, I will be back next Tuesday with another program, another set of guests, a different topic. As you know, each week bringing you inspirational people, organizations championing their work, or discussing a topic affecting you, the British Asian, the British Muslim community. And just like that, next week we will have a topic coming to you, inshallah. Until then, can you remember myself, my family, the Pendle Community Radio, Avaz 103.1 FM team behind the scenes, who bring you these programs each and every single week, live in your homes, in your du'as, in your prayers, and until Tuesday next week, take care. And from me, Saima Ashraf, it is Allah Hafiz.